Well, welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here today. As Dal has said in the chat, we will get started shortly. Just waiting one moment for everyone to join. Hope everyone is having a great day today. My name is Barrett. I'm the marketing manager for optometry and medical here at Weave, and very excited to bring you this webinar. So this is bringing in more patients through Facebook reviews. Just making sure we're all in the right spot here. Once again, we'll wait just one more second for everyone to join us. I'll remind everyone, please use the chat as we're talking today and you have questions. Throw those in the chat and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation. Okay, well, let's get started. Let's take a look at the sections that we will be going through today. So first up, we'll be looking at the differences between Google and Facebook. Next up, after that, we will be looking at the importance of Facebook reviews for growing your business. Then we'll take a look at enabling Facebook reviews for your page and setting the correct category. And finally, we will look at how to get more Facebook reviews. Now, one other thing is there's a lot of funny reviews online. And not just on Facebook, on lots of different review platforms. And so I figured to break these sections up, we're going to look at one funny review that I found while putting all this together. And so every time you see this screen, this reviews in the wild screen, you'll know it's time. So up first is this review from Amazon, which says, "I purchased this book as I was tired of people sitting too near me on public transport." And you got to love the 5-star worked like a charm title. It's good stuff. All right, diving in, the difference between Google reviews and Facebook reviews. So first thing, Google is still the big boy, right? 85% of search engine market share. So you'd be foolish to ignore Google or even put Google second when it comes to review gathering. You gotta make sure that Google's part of your strategy. But Facebook actually has 2 billion people using it every day. And I mean, I had to double and triple check that number there. But it's 2 billion users per day. So a pretty incredible number. So again, it'd be foolish to ignore Facebook with that kind of user base. With the actual review capture, it's slightly different. So on Google, we're all familiar with the 1 to 5-star format, and you select your 1 to 5-star rating, and then you enter in information about your experience. You can add photos, and you post, right? Facebook does not actually allow you to enter a 1 to 5-star rating yourself. All you do is answer a simple question: do you recommend the company, right? So here we have an eye care clinic pulled up. So do you recommend Insight Eye Care? Yes or no? And after you answer yes or no, then you are greeted with a box where you can enter information about your experience, describe that experience, but you do not select a 1 to 5-star rating. On Google, we're all familiar with typing in terms and the search engine result page that pops up. There's something similar on Facebook, where if you enter a term like, say, optometrist or optometrists, you can see up in the top left, you can get a list of results like this. I personally don't find myself using Facebook this way. I'd be curious how many on the call use it this way. I'll use Google to actually narrow down my options, and then I'd use something like Facebook to actually type in the name of the practice and drill down to that specific practice. So this is what I'd be used to looking up and finding on Facebook, the reviews actually laid out for the particular practice. So some differences there, and just how the reviews are consumed. And where the two converge, though, is really in this Google knowledge graph. So if you did get onto Google and type in Insight Eye Care or a specific practice, oftentimes you're going to have this knowledge graph, is what this is called, that pulls up on the right side of the screen, right? And we're used to seeing these photos, the name of the practice, list of reviews, address, all that good stuff. But you can actually get your Facebook reviews to pull in to this Google Knowledge Graph. And it should happen automatically if you have a Google account set up and a Facebook account. But if it's not happening for you, which, you know, there's people that complain about that, hey, it's not pulling in. There's a couple things that you can try. A few things we'll look at here. Number one is make sure that your business details are exactly the same on Google and Facebook, right? So we're talking if Inside Eye Care used capital E's on Google, but for some reason when they created their Facebook page, they used lowercase e's, that would be a problem. The address, even your hours that you're open, phone number, like that should all be exactly the same. So make sure that that's in place. Secondly, you're going to want to link to your website from your Google business profile. And so jump in there, make sure that you have included that link. And then this third piece is on your website, if you can, if you have a developer, talk to them about adding local schema markup actually on the website. Now, if you don't have a developer, it's certainly something that you can Google. It's a little more hands-on and it's not required, you know, just those first 2 points should go a long way. But if you're still having issues, Google that. Local schema markup is just code that helps search engines know what kind of site you are. And that can help you as well. All right. So moving on here. All right. And we're actually to our next reviews in the wild. So before we transition to the next topic, there's this one. So amazing movie, but we have to write an essay on it. So 1 out of 5 stars. Love that. Yeah, blame the movie. Okay, interesting take there. Next up is the importance of Facebook reviews for growing your business. All right, so Bright Local, Search Engine Journal, really reputable sites in the search landscape. And every year, Bright Local puts out a great report that we're pulling from here. And they really have their finger on the pulse of, you know, a consumer review, local look at what's going on. And the first thing we want to take a look at is how important, they asked, how important a part do online reviews play in your decision to use them for the following industries? And notice that on the far right of this slider, the dark green is very important. And the second industry is healthcare. So people are saying reviews in healthcare, 53% are saying are very, very important, right? Compare that to retail where only 16% say they're important. Reviews, huge deal in healthcare. All right, so we can't overlook them. Moving on to this question, which of the following statements do you agree with? This first one here, I trust consumer reviews as much as personal recommendations from friends and family. And you can see that in 2021, 49% said that that was true for them. In 2022, that dipped to 46%. So definitely on a decline, and that's been true since 2017. That number in 2017 was, I believe, in the 80s. So it's certainly declining. There's more skepticism creeping in, and that's no surprise. But still, 46%, I mean, again, we can't ignore that. That's still a lot of weight being placed on these online reviews, even if there is more skepticism. One thing, too, to note is people are going to look for bad reviews, actually. And when they're looking for bad reviews on your page, whether that's Google or Facebook, they're interested in knowing some of the company's weaknesses or your practice's weaknesses. And if those downfalls are minor, that can actually make the researcher feel assured. Right? A near perfect rating, that's actually looked at sometimes as less credible. That can lead to more skepticism. Okay? So an interesting thing there, it's don't run away from negative reviews. We're going to talk in a little bit about, you know, ways that you can deal with those. But negative reviews are going to happen, and it's the way that you respond to those. And they can actually play in your favor. based on this here. Okay, now top review sites in 2022, Google leading the way, Yelp in second, and Facebook a close third, right? Third place there. Now, one other thing to notice, if you dive into this review, or not review, this report that we're talking about here, they do point out that Facebook especially, there's more skepticism growing around Facebook. Now, I want to just drive home, again, there's 2 billion users per day. So we're not saying because there's growing skepticism that you should turn your focus away from it. You should still focus on it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this webinar. But there is growing skepticism around Facebook, you know, the struggles they've had with privacy and things like that. But even with those struggles, still very important. Okay, we've driven that point home. So we're going to talk in just a second about how to make sure that you have this set up correctly. But first, another review in the wild. What do we have here? So this one was translated by Google. I just passed the building of this oceanarium. I do not know this place. I have never been in it. And I do not positively or negatively evaluate the place. My rating 1 star is absolutely neutral because absolutely this place is not known to me. Awesome. So many funny reviews. If you have funny reviews, by the way, that someone has left for your practice, would you please send those in? I'd love to start compiling those. I'm sure we have some funny stuff. All right, moving on to enabling Facebook reviews for your page and setting the category. So the most common reason that someone would raise their hand and say, hey, why are Facebook reviews not working for me? The most common reason is that you thought they were enabled, you thought they were turned on, and they actually weren't. So really simple process to turn them on. You need to make sure that it's done. So if you want to actually follow along with me, pull up your own Facebook page. We can do this. So I'll go through this slow. Up at the top right of your page, you're going to see your logo. You want to click on that. And then it's going to drop down these options right here. So you want to select Settings and Privacy. Then you want to select Settings. After that, you're going to select Privacy. Several layers deep here. One more, you're going to select Page and Tagging. And then we've arrived. Then you want to look at this, allow others to view and leave reviews on your page. You're going to want to toggle that on. Okay? Make sure that's toggled on. Again, if you wanted to follow along with me and I went too fast there, remember these webinars are on demand after the fact. Just go to getweave.com, go to our webinar section, and you can download this and you can review that flow, or you can Google it. You can quickly find the path there. The other thing is you want to make sure that you've set your correct page category. And that's really easy to do as well. When you're on your page, just click the About section there, that About tab. And then you're going to want to make sure you've got the Contact and Basic Info tab selected, and then you've got the categories. And you want to make sure that you've got your correct category set. I don't know if this is the same for business pages like this, but I know on Facebook Marketplace, I saw one complaint. This woman said, I listed boys' shoes, and they were automatically tagged as basketball jerseys. So something to take into account. Make sure that you double check your category and that you're in the right place, so you're showing up in search correctly and all that good stuff. Okay, now we're going to move on to talking all about how to actually get Facebook reviews. But before that, we have our last review in the wild. So what do we have here? Yes, I know I said 1 star. I do not like the color yellow, so I always rate 1 star so that there is less of it on my screen. This is a positive review, not a bad review. I am rating 1 star to prevent yellow. Thank you. Okay. They do not like yellow. Okay. How to get more Facebook reviews. How do we do it? So the first thing is have some system in place to message, to follow up with those patients that you just barely saw, right? If they came in, The best time to reach them is right after the appointment. It's fresh on their mind. Text them, email them a link so that they can click that and leave a review. Make it really, really easy for them. One caution here is you do not want to do this in bulk, right? These search engines, these social media platforms, they can pick up on that. You can get penalized. Don't even mess with that. Do it on a one-to-one, but make sure you're sending messages. And hopefully you have some way to do that that's not incredibly manual, right? So using Weave as an example, it's really nice if you just jump into the reviews section of the Weave app, and you can select if you want Google to go first or Facebook, or you want to flip that around and have Facebook or Google. You can select your mix there, but then you can create a custom message, include a link, send that away to patients, and they can jump in and leave reviews that way. And it's all in one spot. You don't have to worry about going to lots of different programs to get that all set up or doing it super manual. One interesting thing is that those who use Weave Reviews have added an average of 38 new Google reviews and 9 new Facebook reviews. Now that's an average, but I always love to pull this from a webinar Chad Fleming did for us, Dr. Chad Fleming. And you can see here, he pulled one of their locations. They have 811 Google reviews. So again, what we pulled before, that's an average, but the sky's the limit. Jump in there, use it consistently, make sure you're sending it to all your patients, and look at that, 811, phenomenal. Okay, next up, little things like this. You've probably seen these signs, or maybe you have one of these in your office. Now, not just Google, maybe you have 2 QR codes and you include Facebook as well. But make it, again, real easy for them. Maybe you have one of these at the front desk, and you train your staff to point to that and say, hey, if you'd go ahead and scan that and leave us a review, that'd be great. Maybe you have a little candy jar or something that you say, we'll give you a little, fun size Snickers or something. Leave a review. And then on the door, you could do the same type of thing. Just little things like that. Keep it top of mind. All right, now moving to negative reviews, right? Responding to negative reviews, and for that matter, positive reviews. Just being active goes a long way. As I was researching different practices and looking at different reviews, I noticed that those that had a really high rating, I'd go in and often they would be interacting with positive reviews and negative reviews. And those that had a lower rating, I'd jump in there and there'd be positive reviews. There'd also be a lot of negative reviews, and there'd just be crickets, right? There's just no interaction at all. And there is definitely a correlation there. So just responding to both types of reviews, but especially negative reviews. We've all seen these where someone comments they were disappointed with the service. And if you can jump in and say, hey, we're so sorry, here's our number. You want to give us a call? We'd like to make this right. Different ways to approach that. But if you do things like that, we've also seen these types of things where a negative review was left and the person comes back in after the fact and says, hey, revising this, they stepped up, they treated me right, would definitely recommend. And so there's opportunities to do that there. And that also goes a long way. I mean, people are looking at your reviews and they're going to see that you took action, that you didn't just sit there and let them kind of just deal with it, but you jumped in and you helped them out. So definitely something to think about there. All right, another thing to think about is creating a custom Facebook URL. A lot of you are already doing this, most likely, but make sure that you have a URL that looks like this, like a facebook.com/ the name of your practice, rather than facebook.com/ a bunch of numbers or even symbols. That's just kind of a garbled mess, right? Really easy to do this. Jump onto your page, go to settings, and then go to this. Basically, it's just the very top section. For me, obviously, it says Weave, but for you, it will say your practice name or your page name. And then just make sure that that username, that you've edited that and made it what you want it to be, that it's nice and simple, easy to read, easy to remember. And then make sure that that link is everywhere online. right? Don't forget to include that in your texts and emails to patients. Make sure that that is accessible. Okay, so those are some ideas for how to collect reviews. Hopefully you've gotten a sense for not only how to collect those reviews, but how important it is to be doing that. And if you've been neglecting this, either on Facebook or on Google, don't neglect it. This is a big, big deal. And it is worth the time and effort that it's going to take to dive in there and gather the reviews and engage with those reviews. Just a huge deal, and can't overstate that. So just moving on to a little bit of Q&A, some frequently asked questions around this. You hear, is Facebook reviews the same as Facebook recommendations? So since 2018, yes, reviews has become recommendations. It's really largely the same thing. Can you add a photo when you recommend a business? Yes, you can. When you click yes, you should be able to start entering information, and you should be able to add a photo there. And then, can I keep the recommendations on my Facebook page private? No, you actually can't do that. All recommendations are public by default. So just double checking the chat here, see if we have any other questions. I'm not seeing anything right now. So really hope you've gotten some use out of this. Thanks again for joining us today. As always, check the on-demand section, getweave.com. Go to the webinar section. You can download this webinar and many other webinars. A lot of great info there. Make sure to check out the Request Weave demo button at the top here. We'd love to have you take a no commitment demo with our really talented sales team. They can walk you through different features of Weave and fit the presentation to your needs. They're not just going to talk your ear off about all the great things Weave can do. They want to talk to you about your specific needs, and then they want to show you what Weave can do for you. So really recommend that you check that out. Click that button above. And if you don't have a chance to click that button here later on, just go to getweave.com, and you can absolutely sign up to take a demo there. All right, well, thanks again, everybody. Sure hope that you learned something, and we will see you on the next one. Bye now.